Hey guys, thanks for coming back. This weekend I saw The Purge Anarchy starring Frank Grillo and Carmen Ejigo, that name. And this is with a K review. I'm Victor, and you know what? Let's throw up that little creeper face.
With a K review! It's VIC?
No, it's with a K.
Oh.
So when I saw The Purge last year, I think I gave it like a 1.5K review, and that was really only because Ethan Hawke and Lena Headey were in it, and I like Lena Headey and Ethan Hawke. They're both great actors, and Lena Headey is a very good actress. And then when I saw the trailers for this one, I was like, why in the world are they going to make a sequel to something that only got like a 40% on the Metacritic? And the simple answer to that is that the first movie was made for really cheap and they made a lot of money on it, so they're like, okay, let's just make the sequel. And then I thought, okay, they're gonna make the sequel, and okay, cool, they're going to have people out in the Purge now, and they're gonna get stuck out there, and they're gonna go through a whole bunch of cool stuff, and maybe we'll get a new director, and we didn't. Because again, this Purge movie is directed by James DeMonaco, and I keep reminding myself that James DeMonaco actually wrote the movie The Negotiator with Samuel L. Jackson, and I think Kevin Spacey was also in that movie, and that movie was awesome. I loved it. And for them to like give this guy a second movie, I thought, oh my god, it's gonna be terrible. But this movie is somewhat better. I will explain. In The Purge Anarchy, you have like a group of people who get stuck out in the Purge, and Frank Grillo's character, he's a guy like on a vengeance mission. And just a little side note here, when the movie started, I noticed like he was putting his guns together and everything, and Frank Grillo, if you put the Punisher symbol on his chest, he looks just like the Punisher. Thomas Jane does a fine job, but this guy really has that grizzled look and he needs to be the Punisher. But anyway, you have him going out into the city and he meets up with four other characters. You have a mother and daughter, and then you have a couple, and each of them go into this in the city and they're stuck there for whatever reason. And at that point I thought, okay, maybe their stories are going to kind of interlock with each other and you might have a good movie. But as things start to go in this movie, I really started to dislike a lot of these characters. Like, I started not to give a damn about any of these characters and whether they lived or died. Really, the only one was the mother of the mother and daughter team, and like, she's been in some other stuff before, but I really didn't recognize her, and she does a good job, but that daughter, oh my god, I just kind of wish she would have gotten headshotted. And really the same thing goes for the other two characters, the husband and wife team, and like, they keep arguing with each other, and you kind of, it's trying to give you the sense of like, oh, they're a couple, and you know, like, you really care, you know, if one of them lives or one of them dies, but everything just starts to go in cliches. And not only that, but like, there's a lot of stuff in this movie that didn't make a lot of sense to me. And when I was watching it, I was like, oh my god, Victor, don't be like, oh, is this movie gonna make any sense? Because I realized one thing about the first Purge movie is that this director actually has a lot of good ideas in his movie. Like, the part in the movie, like in the first one, where, you know, they had the neighbors come into the house, that was a really good idea, executed poorly. And in this movie, you have a lot of great ideas. There's like a background character in this movie who's going against the founding fathers, and that is a really good premise. And also the underlying premise in this movie is that the government is trying to encourage the Purge. And I like that storyline, but again, in this movie, they never really flesh any of that out. And I mean, those things are there, but I just didn't really understand why it kept jumping around from thing to thing. Like, you would have a bad guy in the movie, and then it would just kind of keep happening at different points with that bad guy, and then the people who in the movie would start running into different situations, and I was like, damn, is this movie really going anywhere? Even like the main story of Frank Grillo's character, I mean, like, I really wanted to see if they could have done like his story and brought it through the entire movie and not had a lot of these other weird side stories and a lot of side characters. I guess I really wanted to see this movie do better than the first one, because in sequels you usually try to amp things up, and sometimes in a movie like this, if they amp things up, you get more violence and you can just forget about all the other storylines. But this movie really wanted to have storyline, sub-storyline, and then I just stopped caring by the end of it, honestly. There was even one point at the end where one character dies, and I won't give away who that is, but the character says, "I love you," and then gets shot. It was like the most cliched thing in the movie, and I was just like, So when I got done watching the movie, I was like, how am I going to actually review this movie? Was it worse than the first one? No, because it actually took the violence outside. You got to see the characters interact with everybody else in The Purge, and it was enjoyable at some points, but there were so many subplots, there were so many characters that I just didn't give a damn about. By the end of the movie, the major emotional point that was supposed to be made, and like the entire thing, just really fell flat, and I was just like, eh. So when I really thought about it, I think I'm going to have to give The Purge Anarchy a normal 2K review because it did do a little bit better than the first one. It had the action outdoors, but again, all the characters were kind of crap. Frank Grillo, that guy is the Punisher. Awesome. Can't wait to see him in the next movie. Thomas Jane can still be the Punisher. Go see Dirty Laundry online if you want to. But you know what? When you want to go see The Purge, hey, good segue. Make sure to rent this one on video. Don't go see it in theaters. Don't waste your money. Rent it at the video store for $1, and when it comes streaming, put it in the bottom 50 when you're really lonely on a Saturday night. And thanks guys for watching my review. I really do appreciate all the viewers and subscribers that I have. Make sure to give me a little W.A.K whack right here if you want to subscribe to my channel. Whack up there if you want to see any of my past reviews. And let me know in the comments below, what do you think about The Purge and about this Purge movie? Do you want to see a third one? Do you think that they should just end it? I doubt they will because this one actually I think got like number 2 at the box office, so they're probably going to make a third one for next year. Yay, more, just like the Saw series. Yay! Anyway, never forget, if you guys don't like what you're watching, you can always turn it off. But thanks for coming back and seeing me.